everybody in to a Tuesday edition of Ysn Power Hour. And there is this huge jackass driving this big old thing right across the street, and he's going about a mile an hour. So if you can hear it, great. If not, deal with it. Today, how's everybody doing?
Doing pretty good. I think that's what you asked.
Yeah, you were kind of talking and not moving and a bunch of other things.
We're losing all kinds of stuff here. I don't know where we're losing our internet. So.
Well, EB, it's going to be a fun day.
Yes, it is. Let's go. What are we talking about? What's a national day? What's going on?
So we got a couple of choices. We've got National Make Lunch Count Day.
Absolutely. Let's talk about it. What's your favorite lunch? What's a go-to lunch?
Old school. Got to go Lunchables, the pizza ones.
Ooh. I didn't think Lunchables. I was going to go like PB&J.
PB&J is a solid choice.
Yeah. Paige, yes, we are off to a hot start. But here's the question. We're going to lunch. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Do sandwiches not taste better when they are cut in half?
Absolutely, 100%. And, not only cut in half, but with the dill pickle spear on the side, it just adds something to it.
Well, you always got to have the dill pickle spear.
I agree.
I mean, I think you can put pickles on just about anything, and it's okay.
Where's your favorite sandwich spot right now?
Oh, man. Sandwich. Like, are we talking like a sandwich? Are we talking like burger? Or are we going like traditional like sandwich?
Let's go traditional like lunch meat deli sandwich.
So, I mean, it'll always be one of my go-to spots and to take me back to the college days. Diamond Deli in Akron.
That's a solid one. I picked up a new one recently. There's a place in Salem called Horst.
Yeah.
Horst. Phenomenal. Grab sandwiches while we were working over the weekend from there.
Yeah, they have a bunch of their stuff's good. Their sandwiches, like I think they even do pizzas and like even they do baked goods too. If I
think you're right. Yeah, I think they had quite a bit in the store that I was in there, and then I think that they've got like a butcher shop on the other side of Salem there too. Maybe
right.
Columbiana area.
No, yeah, their stuff's pretty good, but I mean, my go-to sandwich shop would be Diamond Deli. I mean, around here, if you're gonna include the sandwich into like the subcategory,
yeah,
generally I go Sandwich Factory.
That's a solid choice. I almost forgot about them, but that's a real solid choice. Back in the day when I was traveling to Cleveland all the time, I had to stop at Slyman's like once a month.
So since we're on the topic of sandwiches, and we're in baseball season, what is a hot dog? Is it a sandwich or is it in its own category?
I'm going to leave Mac and Quinn to take that one.
I deflect.
Of course he would. He's so soft. It's a sandwich by definition. It's bread in between something. So that defines a sandwich, and that's what I'm going to go with. By definition, it is a sandwich.
Do you have any idea how to make a sandwich?
Yeah.
Bread is the outer half. Bread is in the middle.
What did I say?
Bread in the middle.
Bread on the outer half and something in the middle. Smashed together. There we go.
I love my sandwiches with the bread in the middle too, but
that extra slice of bread in the middle. Do it up like
thrown off from last night. We were moving from like space to space. It was pouring down rain. We were trying to figure things out.
If you watch the fourth inning of that game, you're lost.
Shit show.
Yeah, Bill,
it's a complete shit show. I'm not afraid to admit it. I mean, it was a shit show. So not my best work.
Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about which game you had and talk a little bit about it?
Well, hold on. I want to know what they like for lunch.
My bad. Lunch? Back to the lunch.
Oh, well, we had I had a good lunch.
I can tell you what I don't like about lunch.
Quinn did not have a good lunch today. He was very whiny today.
Bad.
Quinn doesn't like the inefficiency of lunch.
No, it was bad. Today was bad. They got chicken strips from Chili's, and it was bad. They were.
He's like a 5-year-old.
They were just.
Can I get French fries and chicken strips? 5-year-old.
I like chicken strips.
At least he didn't call chicken nuggets bonus chicken wings.
It's true.
That's true.
That's
true.
Bezos.
That's true.
Bezos did that.
Bad
Hey,
one.
I agree with Paige. Sandwiches cut into triangles are even better.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where we're at. It's like national. What's your go-to lunch day? So
National Make Lunch Count Day.
make lunch count. Obviously, I make lunch count, but it's we're just kind of seeing what you guys like for lunch, I guess.
McDonald's.
Gross.
Oh,
There's only like 3 things you could eat in East Palestine. You got to pick them.
Well, we're in Boardman today.
Well, today, yeah, but normally.
So we went to Chili's for lunch. Mine was excellent. Excellent. I had a steak.
can't go wrong with steak for lunch or breakfast or dinner or really any time.
At 3 a.m, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Absolutely not. But I don't know. We're kind of derailed, so we'll just keep rolling. Talk about your game.
So there was only one game on the network. One school on the network last night. And what?
There were 2.
2 games, 1 school, right?
East Liverpool also made it on last night.
Huh?
Oh, well, that's news to me.
Yep.
So 2 schools on the network last night. So one of them was, we were basically the Austintown Fitch network, and I'm sticking with that. But so we were up there. We went to the football stadium, and we climbed up the stairs. And let me tell you something, that top row, you need a break after getting up there. Okay? You need a good 6-7 minutes break just to kind of relax and catch your breath. We didn't have that, of course, so we had to get moving and setting up, and the rain was kind of coming in and coming and going and coming and going, and the game went just about what you thought it would be, and the score was 22-3 as we saw 17 runs cross in 1 inning. A big whooping for Austintown Fitch as they continue to impress. We saw a 3-run home run in the pouring down rain to right center field. You remember who it was?
No, all I remember is you said it was poked out to right, and it just so happened to go over the wall.
The wind, let me tell you something. That wind just kept going and going and going. So it was a good game. Offensively, it was great for the Lady Fitch Falcons, and they saw some pitching that probably below par from Howland, and they were able to stay disciplined and stay in the zone and swing at good pitches, and it just seemed that every inning they had somebody on second, third with nobody out, and I think they scored 12 runs with 2 outs.
All 17. It was all 17.
All 17 runs scored with 2 outs in the inning.
Wow.
I mean, that's something that I've never seen anything like that before. I've seen runs score with 2 outs, but 17, we're talking about 17. That's clutch hitting all throughout the lineup. I mean, that's 3 times over. So great job for the Lady Falcons.
Mac, I have a question.
I have an answer.
Are your dogs in your room?
Yep.
Okay, because I hear like subtle snoring or growling, and I was looking at everyone to see like who was either being the heavy mouth breather or what the hell was going on.
I thought maybe it was Quinn's stomach grumbling.
It is because he didn't eat a damn thing today. He goes, "These are terrible," and then didn't touch the rest of his food.
I'll just take Mountain Dew.
Have Mountain Dew.
No Mountain Dew either.
And a freaking lemonade.
Well, DJ continues to kind of try and load here. I'll tell you a little bit about the Fitch baseball game that DJ and I did last night. We got to see what I thought was a really good baseball game. Through 3 innings, it was basically a 2-0 game, and Jake Lawrence for Fitch went the complete game, allowed just 3 hits and struck out 10 on the night. Really impressive piece of pitching from him on the mound. The guy that I was really came away impressed with, since it was my first time seeing Fitch, was shortstop Alaric Sierra. Just really smooth with the baseball, smooth on the field, fun to watch. And, really impressed by Fitch then, in the 6th inning, putting up 4 more runs to make it a 6-0 game. And, really just kind of put it out of reach. Impressed, like the guys were saying, there was some rain in the area, and the crowd size was just phenomenal. And I thought, both crowds were a lot of fun.
Cool.
Hey, DJ. Or not.
Hi, guys.
What's going on, dude?
Yes.
You're on.
Am I on? All right. I couldn't. I got terrible service out here. I was trying to help out and hop on here, and again, the internet signal in Palestine sucks. It's terrible, and I'm trying to get out to Mohawk and do this game.
Which is why you
Sorry,
need to
guys.
move to Boardman, Ohio, where that could be Stream City, because you can't stream without the internet.
Don't start your shit. I saw you at the beginning of the show too.
That's right.
Well,
That's why you come to Canfield. It's even
but
better.
we move inside because outside they're basically pulling up my entire sidewalk. So we wanted to,
That is
not
true.
have
Well,
the
Some
noise.
dude took out Billy's front yard.
Took it out. It's gone.
if we didn't have an assistant general manager that takes out our entire Wi-Fi in the course of 3 days
Wasn't me.
on a hotspot, we'd be all right.
Wasn't me. My Wi-Fi was working yesterday just fine.
Just remember who gets the bill.
Hey, DJ.
You know who doesn't have Wi-Fi issues? Columbiano.
Alliance.
Or Boardman.
I think your dog farted.
Hey, DJ, anything to add on the Fitch game from last night?
What's up?
Do you have anything to add about the Fitch game last night? We just kind of recapped the softball and the baseball game.
Dude, I can't hear anything. Everything's digitized. I'm getting off.
Okay.
Oh. I don't know. I don't even know how to get off this thing now.
Quinn, take control.
All right. Anyways, so what's on the docket tonight? Like who's playing? I've been so out of touch with everything. I don't even know who's playing. Finally, obviously, a lot of rainouts last night. What's the big game tonight?
Pulling that up right now. Give me 1 second.
DJ's obviously on his way to Mohawk.
So we've got tonight, got Anthony doing South Range Poland softball. Billy and I are going to be out at YSU doing Ursuline Newton Falls. DJ has the Mohawk New Brighton baseball game. Steve is on scene 1 for Mooney Ursuline tonight.
The Holy War! Go Irish!
Canfield versus Harding tonight. Alec and Matt are going to be out there for that. Newton Falls versus LeBray. It's going to be a doubleheader at Eastwood tonight. Jacob has that one. Liberty plays Camel on scene 2. That's going to be Eric. What else? Fitch and Howland. Ty has that one tonight. Struthers and Jefferson on scene 3. That's going to be Andy. South Range Poland baseball. B. Miller has that one. The students from Hubbard are going to be doing the Hubbard Girard game. Billy's dog is apparently playing with a squeaky toy.
Of all times. Of all the times.
What else?
9.
Mark Franken's going to be doing the Heartland Christian Matthews baseball game, and then Boardman has a track meet tonight. That's going to be on the network.
Right on. There's that'd be the track meet. Curious because a couple of girls we know, Quinn, and who's all in that? Is
I
it
do not know. I just know Boardman's hosting, so I would assume it's going to be a pretty big meet.
Yeah, left turn. Hey, gonna run straight. That's gonna be awesome.
I think
Right here on the network.
Nevertheless, I think it's going to be a pretty big one for it. I think it's going to be a lot of the local schools, actually.
I would have loved to see how fast Billy runs that left turn 3 times or 4 times over compared to some of those kids.
You're never gonna see it. That's a fact.
Actually, I'd love to see you do
90
hurdles.
feet is about as far as I go, So
We were
I'd
actually
love to see you do some hurdles.
90 feet is about as far as I go.
I think we need to do a segment where we get Billy's 90 time.
It's probably not terrible.
we were talking about it last night.
It's
We
not
saw
terrible.
somebody hit it to the wall and only get a single, and we said Billy would probably get thrown out. So
Oh, that'd totally be me.
it-
You'd be hollering, unhook the trailer.
Hey, you know what else is great? Speaking of being awesome, the Padres whooped up on the Pirates last night, 6-2. I was hoping DJ would be here so we could talk about it, but Paige and myself, our team, completely annihilated, and Darvish just looked like a magician out there on the hill, and we just breezed through the Pirates.
Obviously, Darvish can make it up all the stairs at Austin Town Fitch. Billy cannot.
Well, I made it up. It was just me after that.
That's a good point, Paige.
What do you say? Yeah, I was close. I was close.
So are we going to have to, like, every time that Billy's on, have a Padres update?
Probably.
We don't necessarily have to have a Padres, but because they're playing the Pirates, it was one of those.
It's only when they win, though.
Congratulations, you beat a minor league team.
I just want to say that one more time.
Congratulations, you beat a minor league team.
Jay's not here. He doesn't know what's going on. And it's probably for the better.
Just win, baby. You just play the team. Listen, you can't sit here and say you played the team, one sport and say you play who you play and and then you knock my team for playing a minor league team. It's not my fault. You can go out and spend money. You chose not to. So we did, and we were spanking.
You have to have money to spend. The Pirates have no money.
Yeah.
They dug that hole for the past 20 years.
Pirates have money. He's a billionaire. The owner of the Pirates is a billionaire.
But he doesn't have money to spend on that.
$1 billion isn't what it used to be.
Oh, nobody's sitting here saying you got to go.
That to what?
You got to go pay, two guys with that money. But they spent $30 million this year on payroll.
And that's why he's a billionaire. He's a smart business guy.
And their team stinks and will always
Doesn't
stink.
matter. You still get money.
They might. DJ better be careful because they might hit 100. They might.
Paige is mentioning the Cleveland Heartbreaker last night. Did anybody else see it?
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Oh,
I got the updates. I didn't see it.
They got the double play ball, and Chang hit the guy in the back of the head with the ball.
So that was the other thing is Chang's getting a lot of hate mail and racist comments delivered to him, which with a lot of this Asian hate thing going on. I mean, that's terrible. Like I can believe because people in this world are different. They're built different, but it's just ridiculous how a Major League Baseball player is getting death threats and racist remarks to him because he made a physical mistake.
So I think that brings up a really interesting topic, and I want to get you guys' take on it. Where is the line for fans? Because I think we would all agree that, like, heckling players, that can be fun sometimes, but where exactly do you draw the line?
What would you say?
I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough question.
It's really hard because we're all coaches here. So
Yeah.
There's things that we teach our players and our kids, like what's okay to deal with, what's not okay to deal with. You know what I mean? And all of us are probably on the same page. I would imagine we're all on the same page as coaches, we tell our kids to ignore the noise, right? Mm-hmm. And at professional, like you would imagine, that's got to be an obvious. Like you just ignore the noise, right? But it's hard when you're getting emails and letters at home, like maybe coaches, we might have email addresses or maybe even some, like we might get some mail, but our players at our youth level should never, ever receive something like that. I mean, not ever.
I'm with you. And I don't think any player at any level ever needs to, receive racist remarks or death threats or anything like that. But, I do think that there's some good natured heckling that goes on. Even at the high school level, we even saw a little bit of it last night. The students from both schools kind of going back and forth with each other. And it kind of makes the game a little bit more interesting. But I think where you draw the line is where you start personally attacking players.
Well, right, dude. There's a difference between heckling and just straight being an asshole.
Yeah,
like heckling, and you're making comments, you're doing stuff, whatever. When it's towards the game and the action of the game, that's heckling. Yeah. But when you're sitting there and you're one, now you're crossing into lines of morality,
right?
Because you're sitting there, you're discriminating his ethnicity and then him as a person, this and that. Like I really think all these social medias and whatnot, and I'm sure they have a way that they can do it, but they need to set it up. If you're a professional player, like a common fan should not be allowed to message that person or whatnot, unless if that player signs off on it. Like where they approve, yes, please give me everything. I want it. It fuels me or whatever. Because then at least they're signing up for it. But like, dude, you get a bunch of keyboard warriors out there, and they just sit there because they want to be, Tommy Toughnuts and try to attack people because what's going to happen to them? Nothing. And really, to me, I always tell like my players, and if you would ever, come at one of my actual players as a personal thing or a race or ethical or religious thing, you and I will definitely have words. But especially an amateur, someone under 18, even if they're in college, like you don't come after my players or anything, or even if it was even a high school kid at that in general. But like some of this stuff is, dude, it's getting out of line. Like the Liddell kid from Ohio State in the Final Four, whatnot. Like he got blown up. Dude, it's a game. Like I get it, dude. We're all competitors here. We all want to win, but at the end of the day, like it's a freaking game. It's if Ohio State loses a national championship game, I'm still gonna be okay that night. Yeah, maybe I might be a little upset because they didn't win, but I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh man, when they lost to whoever in the national championship, I wasn't like, oh, Justin Fields just trash. Like you're not gonna sit there and bash it, dude. I would never think of like going at a person personally. That's just people who want to sound tough because the reflection of themselves is not very good.
How about like as a fan or even just as a person in general is, I wouldn't go when you're heckling. Imagine your mother sitting right next to you. Would you say some of those things to these players if your mother was sitting right next to you? And 9 out of 10 times, no, you wouldn't.
So I have heckled in my day. I know it's probably hard to believe, but I have been a heckler. And, if you got a chance to listen to Jeff Rizzo and I talk earlier in the year, you heard about some of the fun back and forth that we had. But it always stayed respectful, and it was always, just good-natured and fun. A couple of guys that are passionate about their schools and their programs and just kind of going back and forth with each other a little bit. I definitely think that the age of social media has made it too easy for people that want to be keyboard warriors to just jump on and say whatever they want. But I do think there's a good side to social media where we've seen some of the players really utilize it to kind of do some fan outreach and get more involved in their communities and things. I think right away of like Larry Nance Jr. and what he's doing right now with wearing all the different t-shirts from different companies throughout the area that kind of sparked from his social media. So it's a double-edged sword to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's coming after Larry Nance Jr. because of the things that he does inside the community. You kind of have that rallying cry when somebody attacks you. You don't have to worry about it because all these communities that you just did a lot of work for is going to step up in that Twitter format. And that's basically where a lot of this stuff comes from, is that Twitter. Twitter is a poison a lot of the times because you get to create an avatar. You don't have to be Coach Seidel. You could be Joe Blow and then go in and attack somebody. You can have a fake account like Kevin Durant and his soft ass.
I can't believe you're calling out my alter ego like that.
Right. So, I mean, like that's what I'm saying is you could create a whole new person and then start attacking people.
Dude, for no reason. I love how we're talking about don't be heckling people and getting on people, and Billy's over here. Yeah, Kevin Durant, his soft ass. You
You're damn right.
Hey, Pot, meet Kettle real quick, man.
For some reason, I just feel like Mac would be the best heckler out of all of us.
I got some skills in the heckling game. All right, I've been there.
Does it depend on the sport? Because I feel like in baseball, you've got enough knowledge that you could say things that were like, those mini time bombs in the back of players' minds.
Here's the thing: you do it long enough where you kind of. My crew that I hang out with, we're big jokesters, and it's always we all know each other's personal life, so we never hit that. But it's once you start digging underneath the layers and you start to see that they're agitated, that you just keep pressing the button. You just keep going in and until they explode. And then when they explode, you win. You're like, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. To see you go batshit crazy.
Freaking
Wow.
one of your dogs snoring is just completely
He's right. He's not snoring. He's right here. He's just looking at Quinn going, this dude is a weird dude.
He's staring at you.
He's looking right at you.
He's looking right at you. I'm looking at him.
It's a low enough rumble, too, that in my headphones, it like shakes my head every time it happens.
Oh, dude. So,
is anybody surprised that Paige was the heckler in high school?
No.
I was always in the dugout because I sucked at baseball. I was always yelling something from the dugout.
But everybody has a role to play.
You're right. Yeah. Well, and if you're a kid on the team, it's a little bit different too.
Oh, I mean, like as a trash talker, I'm pretty sure we were all trash talkers when we played. I can't imagine none of us were quiet as players. Is it fair to say that?
See, I like trash talking. I think it's fun. It raises a little bit of a different, level of play. But when I trash talk, I'll never talk personal.
Right.
Like it's never personal, and it's always like it's always like the subtle little things. Like you don't need to sit there and say like a paragraph long of like why you did something. Generally, like even playing basketball, like if you make a great shot, just got them, walk away, and they know.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
No, I was gonna say like because if you do something and you have that one up, they know. You don't gotta say much. Like I can't imagine baseball. I think if I was a pitcher and I struck people out all the time, I'd be like Shooter McGavin every time.
Oh, like the kid from Vanderbilt. I think it was Vanderbilt. Yeah, it was Vanderbilt.
Rocker.
He was just talking smack going into the dugout. Like that happens all the time. But hey, let's pick this up. We're gonna go to a break and then let's pick this up because I wanna lead into something else after this. So we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at bairdbrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
It's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
Are we back? Yeah. No. I can't even see what I'm looking at here because he's over here doing stuff. He's producing. Welcome back, Tuesday Power Hour. See, now I feel good because I can see myself. Like that's a beautiful man wearing all green,
aren't you?
That is a beautiful man wearing all green right there. So,
would you pet that dog already?
I am. I'm trying to keep him quiet. He's staring at Billy.
It's
the ego.
It's crazy. So we're talking a little bit about trash talking and how that kind of works. Reggie Miller, one of the best trash talkers, I think we can all agree to that in at least in the NBA, probably in any sport. Because from how I've seen in the past of people talk about Reggie Miller is he was a great shooter, but even a better trash talker. Probably up there with guys like Michael Jordan. We all know Michael Jordan was a huge trash talker too. But came out yesterday or the day before and said, if Michael Jordan ever asked me to play for him, he would have told him to F off. So that kind of brings us into a situation of, what do you feel about these super teams? Do you think they're good? I mean, you're starting to see them more and more, and now the NFL is kind of getting a little bit of a taste of that. So what do you think about guys taking less money to play for a stacked team?
I personally hate it. I think that it's ruining the game of basketball at the NBA level. And, I think it's why we're seeing decreased viewership, because really, if you're not in about, I'd say like 3, maybe 4 markets, you know that your team has no realistic shot at competing for a championship. And so it's like, why even watch?
BB?
And I know, and I guess it depends how you look at it. It's not that I don't hate it. I don't want to say I'm necessarily a fan of it. It's just nature of the beast, because these small market teams just can't afford these high name players, or if they can afford them, they can't afford anyone else. And that's just, kind of the demographic of the city or whatever it is. Even if you look at when Cleveland won their championship, like you brought LeBron back, you had to give up quite a bit to bring in Kevin Love and then Kyrie Irving. And outside of those 3, you really just had to fill in. But luckily you had Dan Gilbert, who understood and like, hey, I have a very small window. I screwed it up the first time. I'm not going to screw it up this time, because it was like his chance at redemption. Now, when you look at these players, I think they look at it in a different business aspect too, because these people are businesses. Like their name is a business. LeBron James is a business. Kevin Durant is a business. So when they go to Brooklyn or New York, just by per capita, they're going to make more money than if you stay in, say, Oklahoma, or if you go to LA. It's just, I think you're at a discourse between people who grew up in the 90s and watched 90s and 80s basketball to what it is now, because the style is changing, how these kids grow up playing. You're going from a park ball era to an AAU era, to where when you played in park ball, it was you yourself versus a world, and you banked on yourself. Now, AAU, everyone wants to bring in this person, that person, and create these teams to where sometimes you don't always have to do everything. So I just think there's a lot of different variables that go into it.
Okay. You like it? Fan of it? You're of course a fan of it.
No.
Because you're a LeBron fan.
No. What I want to know.
But how are you not a LeBron fan and you don't love this stuff? Like LeBron,
you can be a fan of a person or a player and not like be a fan of everything that goes on.
Yeah. My question is, how the hell do the Nets have all this money?
Because you have a rich Russian billionaire.
Yeah.
But like, where are they getting it from? They just keep pumping out money.
He's a Russian oligarch.
His name is Putin. That's who.
The problem that I have with this is starting to leak into the high school era. All right. And maybe it did happen before and it's been happening, because you could talk about like certain schools, big time schools, high schools that would get players. Now you're getting guys that play like AAU basketball or summer ball. And as long as open enrollment's there, they kind of come in. And I think they're taking place of what guys like LeBron did. And it's not an issue, but at that level, you could do whatever the hell you want. And now I think it's kind of trickling down. And
here's my problem, though. All that you said, everyone has a problem with it when it's basketball. No one says a damn thing when it's baseball, though.
No, I've got a big problem with it.
I have a big problem with it all the way around. All the way around, I have a big problem with it.
Go Padres.
So I can tell you that my big problem with it at the football level is there was a player that played for a state championship in the state of Ohio this year that played for his third state championship with his third different team in 3 years. You know, I've got a problem with that. If you're just literally championship chasing, you know, and honestly, I can say he's not a local kid, so I'm going to take that out of it right now because I'm not going to trash local kids at all. But I was thrilled when the kid's team didn't win the state championship because he was just chasing championships for 3 years.
Yeah, but to what glory other than saying I was a state champion? Okay. You think I really give a shit what you did in high school or they did not? Like when it comes to the realm of life, yeah, it's great. But when you grow up, or hopefully you grow up or whatnot, like you don't put I was a 4-time state champion on your resume.
It was at a much bigger division school than what we're used to covering. And I think that there was a lot to the recruiting process that was going on, at the college level for this particular player.
You know, after talking, and you guys know too, after talking to college scouts, one of the things is that I've talked to a lot of these guys and women are, what's he like as a character, you know, on and off the floor, off the field, or whatever. And when they see this person went to this school, went to this school, went to this school, the first question is this kid an Army brat? Yeah. Right? And then if it's not, which is fine. If that's the case, then we understand that, right? But if it's not, then why are you switching schools so much? Is there a character flaw in there? Let me talk to the coach. Then there's extra questions that need answers to. And really, when you're going through the college recruitment process, you want to answer as less question, as low amount of questions as you possibly can about things about character, because you want to be like, are you a good character? Do you have good grades? Do you go to school every day? Yes, 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 yes. And then be done with it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to go into, well, hey, how many schools did you attend? Or how come so-and-so says you're a bad teammate? Or how come the coach had to discipline you so much? Or how come you were ineligible for how come you missed practices because you went and played this? How come you don't want to get on the train of that many questions to that recruit?
Or, hey, man, why were you at a different school every year? But it just seemed they were in state championships. So when you're telling me when, we go whatever 500 because we're in a rebuild, but we'll be pretty good because they're young, you're just going to hit the transfer portal?
And that's what I think it is now. Is I think that you're going to see college coaches starting to ask that question because of the things that are going on with the transfer portal.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, and I like the transfer portal for some things, especially when you take some of these 18, 19-year-old kids and you move them to, you grew up in Utah and then you go to like Atlanta, and it's a culture shock. Mm-hmm. And they get homesick. They just kind of feel out of place. Family can't come watch them. You're disrupting their norm, and if they're like, hey, yeah, coach, I want to transfer from the University of Georgia to Utah State. I completely understand that because you want to be closer to family, comfortable. Like that's a huge thing. As a human, you want these kids to be comfortable and themselves. That's when you're going to get the most out of them. And ultimately it's about their mental health too. But, these kids who, and you're going to see it like, well, what's going to happen, and I'm telling you now how it's going to happen, is you're going to see a ton of kids who thought they were good Division I players or good Division whatever players, and they went to that school to name drop. Yeah. And then they realize, oh yeah, dude, I'm going to Kentucky. And then they find out they're pretty damn average for Kentucky. Yeah. So now they're going to be like, well, I'm going to transfer back to, a smaller D1 school or something where they'll get some playing time, which they probably should have done it in the first place. And all they did was just set themselves back. But a lot of times, and I don't even want to blame the kids for this a lot of times. I want to blame the parents to where they can't get out of their own way because they just want to say, well, look at me, look what I did.
So the big one for me, Eric, is when I'm doing the recruiting process is the very first question I ask the kid and the parent, we have this conversation is, how far do you want to go away from home? Because it's a big deal. It is a big deal for a 17, 16, 18-year-old kid to leave the nest. Have you ever done laundry before? Have you ever cooked a meal for yourself outside of ramen noodles? Okay. Have you ever had to be responsible to get yourself up in the morning? Okay. And these are all legitimate questions. If the answer is no, 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 you probably shouldn't go from Youngstown, Ohio to Los Angeles, California. Okay. Like that.
Definitely don't go to LA because it's,
you know what I mean? Or that far away. And have you ever left the state before? Have you ever been outside of the valley? Have you ever been into a different area code? Like those are legit questions that I at least have conversation with, because you don't. Most of these kids aren't good with leaving the nest.
Dude, so your dog keeps snoring or growling or whatever the hell it's doing every time you talk, and like naturally I want to be like, this must be what Kate feels like every time Billy talks.
So Ralph,
but you're right with that, dude.
Or I start talking with like a higher bass, he gets nervous. He's not built that way. The German Shepherd, she don't care. She'll just whatever.
But you're right with that. You know, going through like this process with a lot of these kids, which it's an awesome process to see them to go through. Especially the ones who really didn't think much of themselves. And I tell them all the time, like, this kind of turns into self-gratitude. You're allowed to feel good about yourself. You don't have to, all of a sudden change who you are and be cocky. There's a humble way to do it. But like when you are looking at colleges, much like you said, how far away is it from home? You got to take that into consideration. What's a campus like? Have you visited yet? And granted, I'm taking last year out of consideration because you couldn't do a lot of visits.
Right.
Have you visited? No, but it looked cool on Google. Well, yeah, no shit, dude. Everything looks cool on Google because I can doctor any photo that I want.
Oh, Notre Dame. Oh my God.
Like how many, when I was at Akron and a lot of my friends, how many people like went there because it was, either a D1 school or because of this, and they got there and they were small town people. And they're like, yeah, dude, this city life isn't for me. Look at those things. There's just a lot of variables. And I feel like that's where the misinstruction from a lot of these people are like, and this isn't a knock at, club sport coaches or anything like that, because there's a lot of good ones out there who really care. And Quinn and I know quite a few. Billy, I know you do. Like, they don't do it for their ego to say, hey, look at me. I'm pushing this kid here. I'm pushing this kid here. Yeah, we all kind of do it because we're also a business. Like, we still got to keep kids coming in and we still want to, compete and everything. But ultimately, a lot of us really do care. And like, we want what's best for the kid. Outside of, hey, the questions you asked, generally the third question I ask is, not only are your grades, but do you know how much it cost?
Yes.
Because you would be shocked
where the hardest discussion to have is, do you want to play this sport for 30 grand, for 40 grand a year?
Yeah.
Right.
Are you sure? Because you're going to have a house payment at 21, 22 years old without even having a job.
And not having a house.
Not having the house, exactly. For a piece of paper that says, hey, I graduated.
And that's not to disparage or knock having a college degree, but
no, it's not. It is not, and that's not where I was going with that. So,
but that's the other thing too is, I think that we all realize, and we've all probably had them at some point, kids that just maybe aren't college material,
right?
And it's okay to not be college material at 16, 17, 18 years old. And there's a lot of good things going on locally with trade programs and things like that you can definitely get into and earn a great living. But I think that, parents especially need to be realistic about what their kids are going to do with their athletic career. And it's great to get an opportunity to play at the next level at any level, but you're right. You need to take into consideration how much money it's going to cost you over the course of time, depending on what school you choose.
Oh, dude, you're right. And I mean, you guys can probably, Billy, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this. Coach, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this. Like, sometimes I feel, and I don't want people to think this is a negative aspect that we're saying. These are just the hard conversations and kind of like the ugly truth you have to, the boxes you have to check off that some people, kind of overlook because they're not the fun conversations. But, like you have to look at, I totally forgot where I was going with this. Like, I feel like these kids, their senior year, they start to get the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Mm-hmm. And all they've ever known is playing baseball or football and basketball and all this other stuff. And they kind of get the anxiety of, well, what will I ever do? I'm good enough for my school. I'm getting some interest, but they don't really realize that, like, once you get to college, that's pretty much your job. And it doesn't matter, what division you are. I think there's just as many JUCOs as there is NAIA, as there is D3, D2, D1. And to say that you're a college athlete, that puts you in the top 1.7% of all high school players.
Yep.
You're an elite percent. That's, if you think of all the rich people, you have the 1%. Well, now you're that 1% of being an athlete. But you have to be that billionaire or one of those 1% in the world. It took a lot of work to get there. That's the same thing for a college athlete. I just feel like sometimes they don't always look at it.
One of the other questions is, are you prepared to wake up at 6 a.m. to do your workouts, to go to class, to not have a social life? We all had social lives in college. We all had a good, at least I did. I had a great time in college. That's probably why I didn't finish, but
dibs on that one with you, bud. Got that house payment without the piece of paper.
Exactly. That's where I was at. So, the other question that you have to, I guess the important thing is to make sure you put the right people around you. And at 17 years old, it's hard to figure that out. But your parents should, this is more of a message to the parents, is make sure you got the right people around you that are not going to feed you a line. They're not going to just try to promote you to Ohio State or Notre Dame or Kentucky or Duke or whatever it is when you don't belong there. Take your ego out of the equation, and the coach has to do the same thing. And you have to kind of figure that out as a parent. And that's sometimes hard because when you hear Ohio State is in the picture, your eyes got to go, woo. Got to be huge, because what kid in Ohio doesn't necessarily want to play for the Ohio State University in any sport, and I'm just using that as an example, but it could be, it could be similar to like people in Pittsburgh wanting to play for Pitt, even though they stink at everything.
Well, yeah, dude, and you throw that in there, and I had this conversation with someone who went to college, and they ended up deciding like, hey, it wasn't for them. They didn't want to play. It wasn't, and I told them, I was like, you also have to realize, like, when you're in high school, these coaches chase your ass everywhere you go.
Yep.
So when you get there, you are like, they are yours. You are that. So you fall into everything. It's not just, they're gonna, I guess soften it up or make it look shiny and new, because it is, but they're also chasing your ass everywhere you go. So once they chase you everywhere and they lock you in and you get on campus, just realize you're part of that program.
You're a number at that point.
Well, right. And the other thing that I always try and relay to my players is your high school coach makes less than $10,000 a year to be your high school coach.
Most places.
Your college coach, it is their full-time job. They make a full-time career out of being a college coach for the most part. There are some exceptions to that with, maybe some assistant coaches here and there at the D3 level or maybe even the D2 level.
Or in baseball.
Yeah. But
in softball,
what you have to realize is if they're relying on you to create their full-time career, they're going to have a bunch of expectations for you. And while they're, feeding you all the right stuff when you're at the high school level to get you to come to their program, that flip switches once you're on campus. And now you're a part of the machine that's keeping them employed.
Great take, Coach. I got nothing after that.
So I guess I just had one question. Like, so obviously you have club sports and you have high school sports. And I see a big disparity between, and, Quinn, I fall in both, because we're both high school coaches and club sport coaches. But sometimes I feel like you see some of these high school coaches, like, they don't do a due diligence to kind of help their players move on. And then like these, I just feel like some of these high school coaches get upset at club coaches when club coaches will sit there and say, well, yeah, I'm taking them, they told me they wanted to play, or, hey, we were at this tournament or that tournament, and they started to get some looks, some people reached out to me. So I did my part, set everything up and kind of, hey, this is what you need to do. Because a lot of these kids that you see, they ignore these college coaches because they don't know what to say. So they just let it go unnoticed.
Yeah, and at least for me, Eric, it's something that I take a lot of pride in, and I'm super passionate about advancing these kids to the next level. I've talked about it on this show plenty of times. Is my job as a coach. In fact, I just had a meeting the other day about next level. My job as a coach at whatever level I am is to prepare them. It's not necessarily to go out there and win games. When we go into the line, in between the lines, yes, we are trying to win that game, no matter at whatever cost. I mean, don't get misconstrued with that. But my job as the overall is to advance them to whatever level, to prepare them for whether it's a kid coming into high school, to prepare them for varsity, if they're a JV kid, to get them ready to play varsity at some point, if they're 12 years old, to get them to be able to make our team for the 13U team. If they're a senior in high school, my job is to try to prepare them as best as I can to get them to the next level at college or junior college or whatever it is. And at the high school level, there's a lot of pressure of you just to win games, and a lot of other things that go in. You have to do fundraising, and you're doing this and you're doing that, and you're also doing your real career, a teacher or a plumber or whatever it is. So there's not a lot of time, and a lot of these coaches, I don't want to say a lot, but there's probably 50%. So that seems to be a lot. 50% of these coaches, and I'm just throwing a number out here, so don't crucify me if it's incorrect, but a lot of these coaches don't know the pathway to get these kids to the next level. They don't know who to talk to, and they won't work. A lot of these coaches will not work with club sports or AAU or travel ball because they're intimidated by these coaches, because some of our coaches that are in club ball are used to putting 10 to 12 to 15 kids to college every year. We've created that relationship with recruiters where the high school coach hasn't done that. And for whatever reason it could be, I don't know the exact answer to it. They haven't done their part to reach out and talk to these recruiters and speak to them, because they maybe don't know what a college athlete looks like. And that sounds weird, but that's a real thing. You know what you could. A lot of times when I talk to recruiters, Joe who coaches at this place and says my kid can play, for example, YSU, and then so the coaches want to take the college coaches and recruiters want to take these coaches' word for it, because they don't want to miss out on anybody. So they go out and they go to BFE and they go there, and this kid's throwing 75 and striking out kids who have no business playing baseball. And it's like, well, this kid can't play at YSU, and that's just an example, So it's like, yeah, this kid maybe could play college baseball, but not for a place like YSU. So you missed your mark. So now the next kid technically would get punished, because if that same coach reaches out and the kid's throwing 95, then the coach isn't even going to waste his time to come out, because, well, hey, you had a 75-mile-an-hour kid come out there and he's not going to play for YSU.
Right.
So I think it's interesting, because that's where maybe basketball and baseball and softball are a little bit different than football. Because in football, it's so heavily reliant on the film, the tape. The college coaches, when they start reaching out to us, one of the first things they want is access to your huddle film. How quickly can I get on and watch this kid play? And then they make the determination from there on, is this kid good enough that I need to go see him in person? And, it's really interesting to me to hear the differences in the recruiting from sport to sport even, because I've always just been involved with it from the football standpoint, but to hear you guys talk about it from the basketball and baseball standpoint, and just the different path that there is, with the club sports and the AAU and things for kids to take, that's just really not available in football right now.
Well, yeah, and that's I think if it ever happened in a perfect world, how it would work is like high school football would be played in the spring.
Yeah.
Or, called however, because this is why club baseball and, AAU all work because our seasons aren't the same seasons as actual like basketball season or or baseball season. Same with JO. Like volleyball is generally in the fall. JO is generally, late winter through early spring. So now these coaches can, in the 90s when club wasn't as big as it is now, it would be a big deal if a college coach came to watch you because that means that they were in the area and they're taking the time. Now these guys are like, I'm not going to waste my time during my season to go recruit or go watch this person because I can do it in the spring and he's going to play probably against they are going to play against probably top level competition. So I'm really going to get to see how they handle this. I'm going to see when they're exposed to things. That's only downfall to football. Like if there was a club football and there's got to be a way to do it, I think especially you could probably do it a little bit more with your skilled positions, your quarterbacks, running back, to where you could do a lot of like 7-on-7 stuff because now you're just seeing the athletic intangibles.
Well, and I think that's what we're going to see, EB, and I think you're dead on is I think that, some of the other states, we're starting to see these 7-on-7 competitive late spring, early summer leagues form where they're even giving out state championships for it in Texas. But I think that we'll start to see in the coming years where, the 7-on-7 just continues to get bigger, which it's a great opportunity for the quote unquote skill guys. I always hate that as a former offensive lineman because we were pretty damn skilled too on the offensive line, but it's tougher and tougher to get these O-line, D-line guys looks. And, it puts such an emphasis now on your 10-game regular season in high school that, I'm telling my guys all the time, you can't take a playoff. You can't take a week off because the minute you take a playoff, that coach is going to watch that film and he's going to be like, well, he was lazy there.
I will say this, my brother played AAU basketball at a semi-high level, and I got to experience some of that. And obviously, I'm into the travel ball scene with baseball. For both sports, I would say I don't want to say it's more important, but I want to say you get more of an opportunity to be looked at and to go to the next level with the club scene than you do high school. But I don't want to take away the importance of playing high school sports. I'm not here to do that. And I tell my kids every day, you have to play more than one sport. You can't just take time off. You have to try something else. First off, you never know what you're going to experience, what you like. It's almost like as a child when you're eating food. You don't know what you like until you try it and eat it, right? So there's always that. But right now, it just seems that the AAU basketball coaches and also the travel ball scene for baseball and softball have the pulse of the recruiting world when it comes to going to the next level at college. And somehow high school coaches need to do a better job. Not that some do a great job, and I'm not saying that they don't, but there's a and if you're a college coach, would you rather go see one player at an event where you're only going to watch one kid, or like Eric said, would you rather go to an event where you get to spend your weekend there watching 25 kids, or go to a baseball game where you're going to watch one kid play against a commit to going to Cincinnati who's going to pitch. So competition is going to be a little higher consistently, and you're also going to get an opportunity to watch more than one kid. Anytime a recruiter can come and watch more than one kid, that's a plus for him or her.
Yeah, it's bang for your buck. And, I sit there and I always tell, people parents that I talk to on the club side, I said, if you play club, don't think it's like an obligation like this is to see if you're going to college. I go, I know plenty of kids who play club sports just because they want to be the best kid on the team or one of the best kids in the leagues. And I go, that is 100% okay. Like that's absolutely as much needed as, not everyone wants to be that college player. They want to play these 4 years, have fun because they might want to go be an engineer or a pharmacist or their direction is going to really be the schoolwork or the trade that they want to get into because that's what they're passionate about. But
I got you.
Like now they're looking at it like this. Hey, I want to play as much as I can and have fun at it and then be good at what I'm doing now. So like don't think just the disparity that just because you play club and you're not getting college looks, or maybe you are getting college looks and you don't want to play in college just because you just don't have the drive. Like there's nothing wrong with it at all.
All
So
right.
I think
final thoughts real quick here before we wrap the show up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that this is a really interesting conversation. And I know that, the four of us could probably go all day on recruiting and talking about, just the different routes and giving advice. Maybe that's a good idea for a segment coming up or a show coming up that we could all put our heads together on and just offer some advice. And the other thing is with Prospect coming out, hopefully soon, it's going to be a really good thing for the area. And I think that we're going to be able to give some good advice to some of these parents and kids.
By the four of us, did you mean you, myself, Billy, and Billy's dog? Because I'm pretty sure Billy's dog made more noise than Quinn. See?
I didn't have to. We're in the same line.
Hey, can I tell you this? If you have not seen the Head of Home Crew do a game, you have to tune in because it might be one of the most entertaining games ever. Just anything we do we have so much fun doing them. So that's our little plug. Let's go to our G. Burbick Farms. Moo. What's your beef?
Start with Quinn.
Oh my god, dude.
That was incredible. I'm gonna have a filet today. I'm gonna give mine to Grace Whitmer from Columbiana. She signed today to Geneva to continue her basketball career. So congrats to Grace.
Mine's going to be, I'm just going to hype this up because let's say filet because it can't be a beef unless the Irish lose tonight. But we're going to talk about the Holy War tomorrow at some point. And Ursula and Mooney are on Field 1 today at Scene Park. So make sure you go to YSN Live, go to Live Games, and check out all the games on the docket today, especially that one. And I want to make let's hope that Kate is miserable tonight when Mooney loses.
Okay.
EB? Right. I'll go filet too, and it kind of follows up with everything that we talked about, recruiting and that, and it's the filet is just currently it's been a great spring so far for my AAU girls. A lot of them are juniors, and they missed last year, and it might be considered a late bloom, but I think 3 or 4 juniors now have at least received a college offer, and now the sophomores are starting to get a little bit of it too. So in the sophomore year, this summer will be a big year for them. So I'm excited to see what's in store for them moving forward. And it's just a fun process. And it's awesome to see these kids, even if they didn't think they had the opportunity to go next level, get some of this praise and even the opportunity to be in this whole situation.
No, that's a good one. I'm going to go with a filet as well. So we'll have all filet today on Tuesday. And, mine is just having the opportunity to get around to more and more schools and getting to see more and more of these kids. It's been really cool to just kind of start traveling and get outside of my little bubble here over in, the Mahoning County, Stark County area.
Well, that's going to do it for the show. My intro. Outro's awesome, by the way. So make sure you tune in to all the games tonight. Check us out. Go to Live Games on ysnlive.com. We'll see you till tomorrow. I bet Coach Fidel will be wearing purple.
No.